All right, so this is where we left off with the last one. I'll keep this one a little bit shorter, but we're going to talk about DNA. So what is DNA? They didn't used to know. Scientists understood that things were passed down, offspring looked similar to their parents, certain traits and diseases were passed down in the same families, but they didn't really know why. They knew that it had to be something that could carry information between generations. They had to know, or it had to be able to express that information, meaning you and your mother both have blonde hair. So something has to be expressed to show that blonde hair. So what could that be? And it has to be easily replicable. It has to be able to copy itself easily because we're always growing. And so all of the cells in our body have to have the same thing, whatever that thing is, which we now know is DNA. The structure of DNA, it looks like this. It's inside. So if this is one cell in our body right here, and this is the nucleus inside that cell, inside the nucleus are these things that we call chromosomes. These chromosomes are just really tightly coiled up DNA. So you probably have seen DNA in this double helix shape, this twisted ladder shape. And if you look closely, you have the sides of the DNA molecule, and then you have these colorful rungs of the ladder in between. Notice the red always matches with the blue, and the yellow always matches with the purple. That's going to become important in a little bit. So DNA has two strands. This is one strand. This is the other strand. They're attached in the middle, and then it's twisted up and tightly coiled up and fits inside each cell in your body. These little colors that I was just talking about are called nucleotides or nucleotide bases. Okay, there are 4 different nucleotide bases. Guanine is the one that we represent as red. Cytosine is represented as blue. Adenine is represented as yellow, and thymine is represented as purple. And they fit together in a specific order, and the order of nucleotides is similar to the order of letters in a word. So in the English language, we have 26 letters that make up every single word in our entire language. And you take those 26 letters and you rearrange them in different ways, and they mean something. So for instance, let's say we had the word rat, R-A-T. Rat means something to you, right? You picture a gross little rat running around. If you rearrange those 3 letters into A-R-T, that now spells art. And art means something very different than rat. Finally, if you rearrange those letters into T-A-R, now that means something totally different than rat or art. So you can rearrange the letters and get a different meaning. Our DNA works the same way. We can rearrange these base pairs in different DNA structures, and you get a different trait. So one order of DNA might code for brown hair. One order of DNA might code for blonde hair. So you'll have one order or the other, and that determines your traits. All right, so these genes, these orders that I was just talking about, these sections of DNA that contain a specific order of base pairs, those are called genes. And your genes determine what you look like. They might determine some of your personality. They might determine your interests. They determine a lot about you. That's what makes you you. Okay, so the central dogma is what I'm going to show you up here on the board. And it's how DNA replicates itself, how DNA gets passed down. When you're born, you have less cells in your body than you have when you're an adult, obviously, because you got a lot bigger. So you needed to fill that space and you fill it with cells. But all the cells in your body have the same DNA. So how did they pass that information from one cell to the next? That's called replication. DNA copying itself within your body to make more of you is a process called replication. This is how we grow. If you get cut, this is how we fix the cut. And this is actually how some organisms, like bacteria, reproduce. So I'm going to show you replication up here quickly. Here are 2 strands of DNA. Let's see if I can make this bigger. Here we go. Okay. 2 strands of DNA. These letters represent the nucleotide bases. So a thymine, adenine, cytosine, 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 guanine. And you'll notice how the opposite side has complementary base pairs. Every time you have a thymine on one, you have an adenine on the other. Actually, sorry. Let me get this one. There you go. Every time you have a thymine on one, you have an adenine on the other. Adenine, thymine, thymine, adenine, adenine, thymine, adenine, thymine, adenine, thymine, thymine, adenine, thymine, adenine. A and T always go together. Cytosine always pairs with guanine. Cytosine, guanine, guanine, cytosine, and so on. So when our bodies replicate our DNA, the strands open, and each strand makes a new copy. So if there's a T here, an A will attach. If there's an A here, a T will attach. A C will attach a G, and a G will attach a C. So go with me down the line. A, T, G, 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 A, G, T, G, T, C, T, A, A. The same thing would happen on this side. We'd have T, A, C, 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 G, T, C, A, C, A, G, A, T, T. Anytime there's a T, we add an A. Anytime there's an A, we add a T. Anytime there's a G, a C, we add a G. And anytime there's a G, we add a C. Okay, that's replication. Now, you have 2 strands of DNA. Now the cell can divide and 1 strand can go into each new cell. Okay, so that's how all of our cells have the same information, the same DNA. That process is called replication. There's a video posted on the website to help you with that. The next one we're going to talk about, I can make this smaller, this, is transcription. Transcription is similar to making a photocopy of a recipe out of a cookbook. What I want to do now, I'll go through the rest of this PowerPoint, but transcription and translation we'll talk a little bit about more in class because I don't know that I can make as much sense of it in this video. So transcription is when we take that DNA molecule and we turn it into an RNA molecule, which is basically a molecule that carries the message. Similar to if I had a cookbook with all these recipes and I wanted to take one recipe home and make it, I could take a picture of that recipe and bring that recipe home. That's like my RNA molecule. I'm taking a picture of the DNA and carrying it with me where I need to go. And then translation would be taking that RNA molecule and turning it into a protein, which makes us, us. Excuse me. So I would take the picture of the recipe. I would take all the ingredients, put them together, and make a meal. That meal represents the protein. All the ingredients, or the order, represents the DNA. The picture of the recipe represents the DNA. Here's another picture of replication. We have 2 strands of DNA connected. They slightly open. New base pairs come and attach on either side. We get 2 copies of DNA, and now each copy can go into their own individual cells. So if you want to pause this, you can write the complementary strand right here. Once you're finished, restart, and that's what you should have written down. So A always pairs with T, T always pairs with A, G always pairs with C, and C always pairs with G. These are the videos that I posted on the website, Replication Animation. Why do we replicate? To grow, to repair, to reproduce. Transcription and translation we'll talk about in class. And I'll show you, you can watch those videos so you're prepared to talk about it in class, but we'll go over that more in class. All right, 10 minutes on that one. So hopefully that made some sense to you. If you have any questions, we'll go over them in class. Feel free to send me an email, sullivansj08@gmail.com, or send me a message through Remind 101. Make sure you fill in that worksheet that I gave you. Make sure you watch the other videos that I posted. The Bozeman video that I posted has a worksheet with it also. Talks a little bit more about the systems, the body systems. And don't forget to post your response on the discussion board where you notice something that was interesting from this presentation. Tell us something you learned about the presentation. Give us a question you have about something that didn't make much sense. Obviously, we didn't cover transcription and translation much, so there will be some questions on that, but we'll go over that in class. And then if you have any answers to any questions that any of your classmates post, feel free to respond and answer those, because you'll have to respond to one classmate like we talked about last week. Any questions? Send me an email. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you on Thursday. Bye.